welcome back to Busy Garden Life. I am here today because I am so excited. I finally got a freeze dryer. So today is my first day getting to use it. I just got back from my daughter's cheer game and it's getting later in the evening, but guess what? I'm too excited to not try it. So I have been ripening some tomatoes in the windowsill over the last couple days. This morning I washed a couple here. These ones I'm going to use for diced tomatoes, and then I'm going to try and do some tomato sauce as well. But I, of course, got the extra large machine, and let me tell you, this thing is huge. All right, so it is almost, it's like a dishwasher, but it's longer. So this is one tray. Look how big this one tray is. It's probably about 3 feet long, I would say. And so that's how deep the actual machine is. It's probably about 36 inches. And it's got 7 trays. So there is a ton of room to do a lot of different things. So of course, when I was researching it, a lot of people that had gotten the mediums had said that they had to get a second one, or because they were just using it so much, and that because they, just wanted to do more of what they were freeze drying. So I said, well, instead of buying 2 eventually, why not just get the bigger one? There's more room in the extra large one than 2 mediums combined. So the only thing is it's a big machine. But anyway, of course, the first thing I wanted to do were tomatoes. Canning tomatoes and tomato sauce can be such a tedious task. And so I gotta find my little tomato core thing. All right, so in true fashion, because I'm excited about the tomatoes, it's one of the main reasons why I wanted it, was to be able to do the tomato sauce and diced tomatoes, because it can be, like I said, a tedious task and it can take a while. So I thought, well, why not start with that? Now, I'm just gonna do like 1 tray probably of diced tomatoes. So I'm just gonna start here by coring the tomatoes and dicing them up into nice big chunks. I'm gonna try and just save whatever juice I can too and pour it on top, because that will freeze dry as well from my understanding. So I'm just gonna kind of get some of these going here. See how many I can get on there. And then for the tomato sauce, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna core them. I'm gonna slice them if they're too big. If not, I'm just gonna throw them right into my Vitamix. I'm gonna blend it and puree it all down so that it's pretty much a watery sauce as it is. And then I'm gonna take them downstairs to the freeze dryer, and we're going to put them on the trays down there so they don't end up sloshing all around on these trays up here. So and then we will just kind of follow the settings or the guides that we're supposed to. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing yet, so I have to figure that out. But we will kind of follow the instructions. It seems pretty easy to follow along. And then when it's all done, I will head on back and show you the final product to what we get. So all right, let's start with these ones. Then I'm just gonna kind of dice them up and put them on there. I'm gonna dice them up a little, somewhat thick, so that they still like are meatier and can hold a little bit of structure. I mean, they are diced tomatoes and not smushed tomatoes. So, and then I'm just gonna kind of lay them in a single layer on my pan here. Diced tomatoes going on that pan over there, kind of super easy. I've got some really nice tomatoes, still some really meaty tomatoes. It's the end of the season and it's getting pretty cold at night now. We've had a couple really nice sunny days here, so I'm hoping that whatever left is on my tomato vines, they will ripen within this next couple days, because after that, I don't think they're gonna last much longer. So hoping that everything kind of gets going. All right, so I'm just gonna fill this tray, and then all the other tomatoes, I'm going to go ahead and puree them, and we will take them down to the freeze dryer and see how much we actually yield out of this. I don't know how many pounds of tomatoes I have. I have not weighed it. I usually don't weigh all my stuff. I just kind of go with the flow and hope for the best that I have quite a bit. So I should be able to fill this one pretty easily. I've only done a couple tomatoes and I've already got quite a bit of the tray, a good portion of the tray covered. So I'll get finishing this, and then I'll meet you back to do the sauce part. All right, I'm finishing up my last tomato here. I actually ended up doing 2 trays because what I had in this pan is fitting in 2 trays. And I thought, well, if anything, I can make extra diced tomatoes. And if I need tomato sauce throughout the winter, I can always just crush up the diced tomatoes after they've been freeze dried and make sauce with them, right? Because it's just gonna become a powder anyways. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So I figured, why not just go ahead and make the 2 trays? So here is the product. I'll show you. There's the 2 trays. I have them ready to go. They say when you have something with skin, you want to make sure that you are like opening it up so that the skin is either on the bottom, or at least there's something so that the moisture can escape through it. So the tomatoes are pretty diced up, so most of the sides don't have the skin, but I try to get the ones that just have like more skin surface. I'm trying to make sure that they are facing up so that the moisture can escape better. So anyway, we got these ones. Let's head on over to the sink here. I'm going to wash a few more of the tomatoes, core them. Let me get all of this sauce in here too. Don't want to lose any little bit that we can, right? So we're going to core these tomatoes, and we are going to blend them with the Vitamix. All right, so I have a little assembly line going. I have my tomatoes that need to be washed, strainer, cutting board, and then my Vitamix blender here. And then I have pitchers that I'm just gonna put it in so that way I can pour it into the trays. So nice little line. Now the nice thing about this tomato sauce is, usually I use like a lot of those paste tomatoes, which are great, but I have some extra cherry tomatoes in here and the yellow cherry tomatoes. So I am going to go ahead and wash them and throw them in the blender and just mix everything up. So I'm going to use whatever tomatoes that I have left over at this point in time to get into my sauce. So makes it useful when you have so many cherry tomatoes you don't know what to do with them. I've already used a lot for salsa, so we're gonna use it for this. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and get going with that. All right, so I've washed a good portion of them right now. I still have a little tray up in the windowsill there, but I thought my strainer's full. Let's go ahead and core and dice these and get them in the blender. So the nice thing about this is I'm keeping all of the peels on. If I were to make tomato sauce, well, I sometimes I keep the peels on, but a lot of times you peel the tomatoes off, or the skins off of the tomatoes. So this is nice. I'm just going to keep them right on and skip that whole step of having to do that. Now, I've only really made tomato sauce with frozen tomatoes, so I've always kept the peels on, or the skins on, just for that reason. I've always just put them in the roaster and kind of roasted it down and then blended it all up with the Vitamix. Some say that keeping the peels on does make it a little bitter, but we always end up seasoning our tomato sauce anyway, so it doesn't taste different to us because we are changing the flavor of it no matter what. So I'm all about what's quick and easy and saves me time. Our dog is barking at something. Holy smokes. You don't have to cut it in half. I am, just to make sure that there's no rotting in the center of them. Sometimes they look great on the outside and then you open them up and there's a little bit of rot. So most of them have been pretty good, but I like to check just to make sure. And there's some areas to peel out. All right, so we got a nice tomato puree there. And I'm just gonna put it in this pitcher. I'm gonna kind of combine them all in the pitchers here as we go. And I read the instructions and everything ahead of time. Now, typically there's a 15-minute cool down period for the freeze dryer. So I am actually gonna go downstairs now and I'm going to turn it on and kind of get it cooling, because hopefully this will only take me another 15 minutes to finish this part up with the sauce. And that way the freeze dryer will be pretty much ready to go for me to put the tomatoes in, the sauce in, and get it going. So let's head downstairs real quickly and get that done. Okay, so we are down here with our humongous freeze dryer. Check it out. There it is. It's a big old thing. I brought my diced tomatoes down to save trips. All right, so basically it's pretty straightforward. So it sounds, it says start. Now I have already done the presetting. I did use it to, the first batch that you want to do is bread, basically to kind of get that stink out of there. And then you just get rid of the bread. It kind of absorbs it, and then you want to make sure it's working correct. So I did do that part of it. So I kind of set everything up like I was supposed to. And now I'm just kind of show you the screen here. So I'm going to hit the start. Whoops. The door wasn't closed all the way. There we go. And it's basically saying that it's cooling the vacuum chamber, and it'll go for about 15 minutes. All right, so we're just gonna finish getting our tomatoes as we are letting that cool down, and then we can pop it all in there and just let it go for the next 24, 36 hours. Just kind of, who knows how long it takes. They say 24 to 48 hours, depending on how much moisture is in there. So let's finish the tomatoes part. All right, so this is our last bit of tomatoes here. Ooh. And I have just about 2 gallons. So I'm hoping that about a half a gallon will be, we got some candy out too. I'm hoping that one gallon will be about half of it will fill a sheet, because I don't want to fill it all the way to the top. I'm not quite sure, so thinking maybe 4 trays for this. So I'm going to take this downstairs with the empty trays, and we're going to just kind of put the empty trays in there first and then pour it. That way it doesn't slosh all over. So that would be 6 trays, and then we have 1 tray left. And of course, we've got to try the freeze-dried Skittles and the Airhead Bites and the Starburst and the things like that. So typically I would imagine that we want to do like kind of the same consistency of things. so they have the same dry times. I don't really know what the difference of candy and the sauce is, but since I have that one tray and the kids are dying to try the candy, I'm just gonna throw it in there anyway. So, yeah. So let's get downstairs to fill these trays and get them in the freeze dryer and get it started. And then we'll see what it's like tomorrow or even the next morning. We'll see how long it takes. Okay, so it's all cooled down. We need to load the trays and then close the drain valve. So we're gonna kind of get that going. And excuse you. Phew, that was a chore. The candy might not have been a great idea tonight, but we'll see. All right, so we've got it freezing and we'll just kind of keep checking back. All right, it is Friday, late morning, almost afternoon, and everything is dried. I did add some more dry time this morning because it was gonna be done when I was gone. So now that I'm home, I can take it out right away. So we've got the candy first. I'm just gonna put this in a bag for, Christopher has a birthday party to go to, so we thought it'd be kind of cool as a little birthday gift to get him some candy, some freeze-dried candy. So I'm just going to put the Skittles and Airheads. We'll see what all fits in here. But we did Skittles, Airhead Bites, these cool little things, I don't know, and some Starburst. And then we do have the tomatoes, the tomato sauce, and the tomato, diced tomatoes are all done too. They're nice and crunchy. So I'm excited to show you those. We're gonna get those into some jars. But it looks like the candy was a success and the tomatoes. I'm super excited. Let's see if this all fits in one. I don't think it will. Nope. Gotta get my oxygen absorbers. All right, I'm gonna finish doing these real quickly and then I will come back for the tomatoes. All right, so I already have my jars washed. I kind of prepared them ahead of time knowing. Let's see how much our 2 trays of diced tomatoes make. Grab myself a spatula here. I think the nice thing with the diced tomatoes is if I don't end up having enough sauce later on, I can easily just crush these up as is and then add the water so that it makes the sauce that way. All right, 1 quart and I'm about a third, maybe a little bit more than a third of the way through this tray. So we're gonna get quite a bit of diced tomatoes, I think. This is exciting. I ended up with 5 quarts and 2 pints. So a total of 6 quarts of diced tomatoes on the 2 trays. So now I'm going to figure out the tomato sauce, pureed tomato. It's kind of like just a sheet here. I think I'll just kind of drop down slices and then use a spoon or something. I'll have to get something to chop them up. See how much we get out of this. So I have 4 trays total of the pureed tomatoes. So we'll see. And then I'm excited to actually see how much sauce we get out of it. All right, it looks like 1 tray is going to give us about 1 quart of sauce. I think it depends on how full it is. My next one's not all the way full, so you really have to scrunch them down, crunch all that tomato down. Almost like debubbling. All right, I still have a little bit of room left in this one, so all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. If we have leftovers, I can always add to it at the end, but a little over 1 tray, 1 pretty full packed down quart of tomato sauce. So I'm just gonna finish doing all the other ones, all the other trays, and we'll see what our final product looks like. All right, I'm finishing my last little pint here. I'm packing these down pretty tight, so I'm not sure that I need them that tight. I guess I'll find out when I start using them. But we're going camping next weekend, and I thought we're gonna do hobo pies one night over the fire. I thought, well, I wanna get a couple pint jars so that I can reconstitute the sauce and make pizza sauce. It's nice because I can make it as thick or thin as I want it to. And when we're doing it over the fire, you don't want a lot of moisture, so I can make a thicker pizza sauce. So I'm actually kind of excited to try that next weekend. But all in all, I got 5 quarts, or I guess I should say 6 quarts, but I put them in 5 quarts and 2 pints of the diced tomatoes, and I got 3 quarts and a pint, so 3.5 quarts of the tomato sauce. And let's see, it's 12:15 now. I started a little bit after 11:40, so 35 minutes today. And the first day when I was getting everything prepped and ready, the total prep time was a little over an hour and 15 minutes, let's say, with cleanup. So less than 2 hours, and I have canned 6 quarts of diced, 3.5 quarts of tomato sauce. You definitely can't do that with canning. So I'm not sure that I'm ever gonna go back to canning tomato sauce and diced tomatoes again if they end up reconstituting and being just as great in sauce and pizza sauce, spaghetti sauce, whatever I wanna make with it. I could probably use it for tomato paste. Just take a little bit out and use tomato paste. You just don't add very much water, so it's nice and thick. So this, I think, is gonna be a game changer. The time it saved me and how much I've been able to yield because I'm not peeling anything and wasting a lot of the tomato by doing that, I got quite a bit. So let me know what you think I should try dry freezing next or freeze drying next. For my second thing, I'm probably gonna end up doing more candy because my kids are begging me to. Plus we're going trick or treat treating next week for our camping trip, so I'm sure they're going to want me to try to freeze dry some of their candy from that. But what else do you think I should try to freeze dry? Go ahead and drop them in the comments and let me know what you freeze dry the most and what you thought of the video. So I'm excited to do more with you, and we will see you next time.